All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to talk about the first game of the conference finals, and specifically the Western Conference Finals, Oklahoma City versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinion, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. We got a really good game last night. Just want to put this here at the top. We've gotten to the point in the NBA postseason where there's going to be one game a night every other night, back to back nights, and then there's going to be some gaps. We will talk about those games, of course, because this is what we have waited all year for. But the videos will slow down a little bit. Maybe the length of the videos will come down a little bit, and there will always be content. But just wanted to put that here that the videos might be a little shorter. The NBA content might start to slow down, especially when we get to the NBA finals. It's gonna be one game. There's gonna be two games, one game every like 2 days. So it's gonna be a little shorter. There's gonna be a lot less to talk about, but I'm gonna try to break this game down and any future games down as best as possible. So thank you for listening, and let's jump into this game. This game was super interesting. It was super interesting for a lot of reasons. The Timberwolves lost this game. All right, they lost it 88 to the Oklahoma City's 114 points. Um, this game had a lot of wrinkles to it. I'm gonna try to remember all the wrinkles that I wanted to say in this video, because in the moment I was like, when I was watching this game, I was like, oh, there are a lot of things going on in this game. Um, the big thing is the defense. These are two of the best defensive teams in the NBA this season, and it really showed last night. Last night through about I'd say about two quarters, and then somewhat of the third quarter, the Timberwolves really stopped Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the what could be future MVP. They are announcing the MVP tonight, so there'll be a video about that. Maybe we'll see. This is the latest they've ever announced an MVP in NBA history, by the way. I believe that's true. So we're gonna get to know who's MVP. The MVP did play like the MVP though last night. He had some really bad moments. Shea did, because the Timberwolves defense was so suffocating. Um, those Jalen Williams had some bad moments too. Um, but credit to the Timberwolves players, Jaden McDaniels, um, Julius Randle, um, Akil Alexander Walker. They tried their best. They tried their best out there. Jalen Clark got some burn, who hasn't played barely the past the past two series, including this one. He got some burn last night. Um, the Timberwolves really stalled the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it felt like every time the Timberwolves were put on a little bit of a run, right? They just a little bit of a run, and it felt like they were really pulling away. You look down at the scorekeeper at the bottom, and it'd be like a 2 point lead, a 3 point lead, a 4 point lead, and you'd be like, "What the hell?" And like Oklahoma just didn't let them run away with the game, because if Oklahoma let the Timberwolves run away with this game, the Timberwolves would have won this game going away. It's just they would have won game one. It would have been crazy, but the Thunder stood pat. They locked in on the defensive end. They didn't get too high on the highs, didn't get too low on the lows. Um, the only time Minnesota outscored the Timberwolves, or Minnesota outscored Oklahoma, was in the first and the second quarter, and then it flipped in the third and the fourth quarter. Um, it was a tad bit concerning because when you look at these numbers, you look at guys like Mike Conley, guys like Anthony Edwards, who was a little dinged up in this game. He rolled his ankle, did not play. He probably would have played upwards of 40 minutes. He only played 37. You look at a guy like Nasri, Dante DiVincenzo, Nikhil Alexander Walker. Didn't shoot their threes well. Did not make almost any of their threes. Um, if they make their threes, this is a different game. Because the defense was really good by the Timberwolves. Um, they need to pull away because Oklahoma kept it in striking distance, and like I just read to you, the third or fourth quarter stats are crazy. I'm gonna read these Oklahoma numbers for you in a second. Shai Alexander, 31 points, 14 free throws. We'll talk about the free throws in a second. Um, Didn't make any threes. 10 of 27. Really struggled. Look, the worst he's looked for about a half of a game, right? And then he didn't really get it going until about end of the third, beginning of the fourth. He really didn't get it going until then, when it was still a slightly competitive game. Isaiah Hartenstein, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 6 of 8. Did what the team needed him to do. Lu Dort, 5 points, 2 steals, 1 block. Didn't take too many shots. Didn't make too many shots either. It's okay. Jalen Williams, 19 points. He started heating up in that third quarter. Um, he had 5 steals on the night, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. So he was doing the thing when he wasn't scoring. And the big piece for me, the big mover for me, and I think has been in almost all these series for the Oklahoma City Thunder is Chet Holmgren. 15 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. It's important for him to get going because and they said it on the broadcast, he's a versatile scorer. I don't think Chet Holmgren is a versatile scorer. I think he is what this Oklahoma City Thunder team needs him to be completely. Um, he's just a big that can stretch the floor for you, protect the paint, uh, get down in the paint and get you some points every now and then. Especially when Rudy Gobert wasn't on the floor for the Timberwolves, Chet could go down there and almost get anything he wanted. He really didn't in that first half. That's why they struggled a little bit. Second half, he got in there and put a little more pressure on them. But I just want to say that this series is really going to come down to who can rebound better and who can get more points in the paint. Because the Timberwolves did not get any points in the paint in the fourth quarter, in the third quarter. They really just didn't. They got away from it, and they settled for the threes. They settled for the mid range shots, and I just didn't like the way they operated in the fourth quarter. They kind of shrunk. They really shrunk um, their offense, and it became sort of Anthony Edwards or bust, Nas Reed take a three or bust. Dante DiVincenzo, he missed so many threes, so many in the far corner, so many. He just couldn't buy a bucket. Julius Randle was the only one who really shot the three ball well for them. He was 5 of 6 from three. He was on a heater. In that first half, and they really blew the game open. They really got a little bit of a lead in the first half, and then second half was a completely different story. Um, let's see who else is on this Oklahoma City team that did stuff. Ash Caruso, 9 points, 3 rebounds, sturdy game from him. Kenrich Williams, 8 points, 3 rebounds. Isaiah Joe, seven points. He was big for them. 8 rebounds. Only made 1 3, took 2. Um, and that's pretty much it for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's talk about the thing that everybody's talking about in the NBA universe right now. After this game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander free throws, or drawing free throws, I should say. Um, it's become a point. It was a point of contention the whole season, the whole regular season. It's why he's the MVP conversation because he gets to the cup. He's a 3-level scorer most nights, getting to the or even a 4-level scorer, I should say. Let's do it that way. Getting to the paint. When he gets to the paint, getting the free throws or drawing the free throws. He's a mid-range shooter. He's a great mid-range shooter. Absolutely one of the best mid-range shooters, and is a halfway decent 3-point shooter. What had happened was when in the regular season, the NBA and the refs called the game a little differently, right? They're gonna give you all these foul calls, right? Some where you absolutely don't get touched at all, some where you get a little hand in there, like he's gonna get these fouls called in his favor, I should say. And people in the playoffs rolled around a month ago at this point almost. Um, oh, he's not gonna get these calls in the playoffs. It's gonna be tougher for him, right? And at times it has been tougher for him. I will say that. I think if we go look at um his game logs here and we look at his free throw attempts, um, there's only one, two, three, four, four games of the last 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12. only 4 of the last 12 games that he's played in these playoffs. He's been in double-digit free throw attempts, so they have gone down comparatively to his regular season, where I could look at any given game and look at these and say this is a game where he shot 17 free throws against Minnesota. Funny enough, on what date? What month is this? This is like February 24th. Yeah, February 24th. 17 free throws, 16 free throws. Um, yeah, so they have gone down. It has changed a little bit. But man, oh man, was last night a struggle to watch for some people, because they would just call every time he go in the lane. They would just call it. They would call it, right, and he would get to the free throw line. He'd shoot his free throws. He'd make them, which you have to make them if you aren't a good free throw shooter. That's one thing other teams can pick on. He does make his free throws. He made 11 out of 14. Um, but it's just the manner in which he draws these fouls and how it slows down the game, and how it just makes the game so boring, and like nobody wants to see a free throw contest in the NBA playoffs. Nobody wants to see that shit. Um, Speaking as a fan who doesn't particularly like the free throw shooting, I didn't like it. There's a history of guys like this. They come and go through the league, and the league, whether the league deems some of these guys, you're gonna get these free throws for however many years now. You know, it was initially way back in the day a Chris Paul thing. Chris Paul would draw amazing, um, would draw these fouls, and then it became James Harden, and James Harden was notorious for this, and people were complaining about it back then. This was in like the late 2000 teens when he was really getting to the line, when he was exaggerating the contact, right? And especially towards the 3 point line, where he would just like throw his body up in the air, and they would call it a foul on the opposing player. And then it became Jalen Brunson, who is still doing it to this day. Is doing it in these playoffs. Um, and now it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, from what I've seen and what other people have said, has been one of the most egregious players to ever do it. Um, Now, some people would think egregious means bad. Some people think it's good. Some people think it's okay. Some people absolutely hate it, think it's not how you should play basketball. I fall somewhere in in, in the crowd of all three of these things. I think if you aren't, you have to defend him in such a certain way, because teams started defending James Harden in such a certain way to where he wouldn't get you just wouldn't get to the free throw line. You just put your hand. Literally, people were putting their hands behind their back so they wouldn't foul James Harden, and the refs couldn't call it. Because if you have a hand out, if you have like your elbow out, or you're like backing away from, they're gonna call the foul anyway. In Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's um, favor, and I think it just I do agree with the people saying it dilutes the game. I also agree with the people that say, hey, you just have to stop him. If you just stop him from doing it, he can't do it, right? It becomes a little more. It becomes a little harder to defend this sort of stuff when it's not a play style thing. It's not a player thing. It's a referee thing, and the referees have been so up and down, left and right, for the past like 3 4 years. Where, oh, we're gonna get rid of flopping. We're gonna enforce some flopping rules. They enforce it for like 3 weeks in the beginning of the season, and then they stop doing it. And then they pick and choose when they want to do it. And there are certain refs that call it more, call it less, and it just becomes this game where it's not about the game of basketball. It's about the refs. It's about the refs and how they call the game, and which games and which players they choose to give these calls to. I just think it's a bit monotonous. It's a bit tiring to watch this. And I'm not saying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't deserve to um, win MVP or go to the finals because of the way he plays. I put this all on the refs. I think Shea has found he's gamed the system, and when you game the system, it takes the league at least 2 years, 3 years to fix it. Um, I think at times, again, the Timberwolves did stop him. They made it hard for him. They weren't fouling him. They would foul him occasionally, right? Um, and like I read to you, this isn't the most amount of free throws he's ever taken in his career, but it is a bit troublesome when you see a guy like Shea who gets these calls, and then you see other guys like Steph Curry, like um, Luka Doncic, like some of these other stars who don't get the same call. And I wouldn't even call it what some people would call it, what people have called it for years, which is an all star whistle. You know, when you enter an all star level, you get a different sort of whistle. This is just a Shea Gillis Alexander whistle. I've never seen anything like this. Never seen anything like this. Let's move on to the losers of this game, the Timberwolves. Like I said, man, they hung their hat on defense. Their offense at times was Julius Randle, and then the other guys would help out in the first half, and then the second half they just didn't. They didn't get anything. They didn't get anything they were getting in the first half, and Oklahoma really just strangled them, for lack of a better term. The leading scorer for the Timberwolves, Julius Randle, 28 points, one steal, one assist, 8 rebounds, 5 of 6 from three. Might be the most he's ever made in a playoff game. um, 36 minutes. Jaden McDaniel, 7 points. He got going very, very early. When I'm talking early, I'm talking like the first like maybe 4 or 5 minutes of this game, and he had 7 points, and then he didn't do anything else for the rest of the game except defend. Rudy Gobert, 2 points. I was afraid that Rudy Gobert was going to get played off the court, um, in the Lakers series, in the first round series the Timberwolves played. He might actually get played off this series. One block, one steal, one assist, 3 rebounds. 21 minutes for Rudy Gobert. He did get in a bit of foul trouble early on, and that shouldn't stop you, man. You're supposed to be a defensive player of the year. Mike Conley, 7 points, hit a really big three for them, and it was all downhill from there. Um, Anthony Edwards was a bit dinged up this game, so he had 18 points, 4 turnovers, one block, 3 assists, 9 rebounds. He just wasn't. Once he got injured in like end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, and he just didn't look right the rest of the game. He was in the back for a long time. I think almost the whole second half, and then I think he came back out at the end of the second or beginning of the third, but he just didn't look right. And nobody else showed up for this Timberwolves team. Um, 9 points for Dante DiVincenzo, 3 of 12 from three. Nikhil Alexander Walker, Shea Gillis Alexander's cousin, Nikhil Alexander Walker, 8 points. 2 of 9 from three, 3 of 11. Not a good game for him. And yeah, what can the Timberwolves do differently to win this series? Because I do have them going to the finals. I do. This is my pick. It was not a promising showing last night. They need to put together a full 48 minutes of basketball. And Richard Jefferson said this on the broadcast as well. They need to put on a full 48 minutes of basketball, not 28, not 38, a full 48 minutes of basketball to beat this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Because again, they hung around, and because they hung around, they won this game, and the Timberwolves just couldn't get anybody going. There's going to be a game where Dante DiVincenzo goes off, Naz Reid goes off, Jaden McDaniels goes off. These games have happened before in the past and in this playoff run, with this finals run, I should say. Now that we're here, um, just need to be better. Need to be better. There needs to be the offense sort of devolved into whoever's standing in the corner, take the shot, whether it's at the beginning of the shot clock, the end of the shot clock. Just take the shot in the corner. There needs to be. I've never thought I'd say this. There needs to be more Julius Randle post ups, and there needs to be more diversity in this in this Timberwolves offense. Because if Ant's banged up and he doesn't get it going, if Naz Reid isn't going, if Dante DiVincenzo isn't going, if Jaden McDaniels isn't going, this Oklahoma City Thunder team can beat you in a variety of ways. A variety of ways. And if the Timberwolves can't match that and at least match some of those ways and game the system a little bit against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder might run away with this series. They're not scared about going into enemy territory and winning a game. They won a game 7 in Denver. The Oklahoma City Thunder did. It's one of the loudest arenas. It's the highest altitude arena. If you can do that, you can win anywhere almost. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for this game. I hope the Timberwolves turn it around because man, oh man, this Oklahoma City Thunder team, everybody said it all year. They look like the final favorites to represent the West. Shea looks like the MVP. I'm not saying I don't want any of these things to be true, and I stand by. I picked Shea Gilgeous-Alexander early in the year, maybe 2 months into the season. I said he's the MVP. I don't think anybody's gonna get past him. I think whatever it is it is. Whatever it is, it is. Um, but I truly believe in this Minnesota team. I think they've been here before. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder's first time in the conference finals in a while in this sort of situation. I think they adapt well, and I think the Timberwolves just need to match that adaptability. Truth be told, and that's it. That's the video. I told you guys to keep it shorter. Only got to talk about one game now. Way different than when I started doing this and we talked about maybe like 5 games. We talk about one game now. Knicks and Pacers tonight gonna be another good game. Um, I have the Pacers going to the finals, but I wouldn't be surprised if Knicks could do it. That's a far better matchup, I think, um, um, on the court and on paper. It's a little bit different in this Oklahoma Timberwolves series on paper and on court, but I think um, I think both these series are going to be good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you like what I had to say, you can check out the rest of the videos. I'll put a card in the top right corner. You can click it. It will take you to. I don't even know what playlist I should put up there. Maybe we'll just put the rest of my playlist about the other playoff series that have happened. We'll see. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.